here with the rest of the gang here. Hope everybody is having an amazing Wednesday. Um, Last time we had a stream, I think, was last Friday. Tuesday, we had some technical difficulties yesterday. A few of the guys here had a conference, so we rescheduled to today. Sticking to those two streams a week. If it's your first time here, first of all, welcome. We do these streams twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays. Tuesday, a little bit later, 1 p.m. PST. Friday, 10 a.m. We talk about everything that's going on in crypto, from the majors to meme coins to NFTs. We've been doing these streams myself for Loco, Danksy, Rotes for a while, about 7 or 8 months, and then just 2 months ago, we had the pleasure and the blessing to have Max Crypto here, aka Mike, kind of join in with us. This guy is as you can see, I'll pull up this. Oh, you're not okay. Now you can see this tab. Um, 40 years of traditional finance experience. A lot of people have invested for 40 years, right? Like a lot of people's grandpas have, or they're whatever, have been investing for a long time. But Max has been doing it at a high level, been on CNBC, Fox, Forbes, hundreds of times giving his takes. And he just, not to mention super early to Bitcoin and ETH as well. But he's like to come on this show and everything to really help people kind of get a grip, one, and to kind of spread this message of where the world is heading with traditional finance and really everything merging with this new crypto world. So we're super blessed to have him on here. We're going to talk a lot about a lot of good stuff today, again, about the trade war we've been talking about for a while. But mostly, we not on these streams, we like to address tariffs and all that stuff that's going on, but really put a heavy focus on a lot of the stuff that people aren't focusing on, which is the great stuff in the background going on with regulatory clarity and a lot of good stuff. So we're going to get started with that stuff here in just a second. But to start off the show, we're going to do a little bit of a review with my boy Rotes here to kind of talk about a few of the important metrics and stuff that have been going on in the last few days. So, Rotes, you want to go ahead and take that over, brother?
Yeah, it's been a minute since we've gone through this, but Bitcoin itself has found some stability in this kind of support resistance zone around 95K. Currently a little bit below that, but right in that range. We're going to break out above that, and we could see ourselves up into that 100K range. So we're really watching what goes on there. Yesterday's news, we have Arizona nearing Bitcoin reserve, so that passed State House of Commons. But it doesn't have to go through the governor yet, so there is still one last hurdle, I believe, on this one. It could be a bit of a reach yet. Of course, the big one there is that the first state to make that move will open things up for other states to make moves and really start to get the floodgates kind of rolling. So really interesting one to watch there. Pengu token soars over the last week plus, as Luca buys $5 million worth. Pudgy Penguin, one of one, sold for 200 ETH. This was a loss of 50% in ETH value, roughly 300K in USD value. So a big dump off, but also a large sale nonetheless. Trump Media utility token and wallet has been planned and announced here today. So lots going on in the recent news. We also had the Canadian election complete. Carney, the economist, was the one that was elected and plans to meet with Trump here shortly to talk negotiations. So we'll see what comes of that. AI agent market cap, 9 billion, up 4.4% in the last 24 hours. That's doing well. On the NFT side of things, volume is lower, but we did have, like I said, that large Pudgy Penguin sale here recently. Pudgy Penguins are up 18% over the last week to 11.6 ETH. Little Pudgy's up to 1.5 ETH, up 20%. We've seen this Pudgy surge kind of come on again. They bottomed out right around that 9.5 ETH range, which is right where that consolidation range is, right where, we indicated that this was probably a good time to be entering with lower ETH values. They're seeing and leading the way, leading Ladies are up also as well, 10%. These are from yesterday. We had a lot of these snapshots then we bumped it today. So slight updates on some of these. I think these are all really important over the last bit. So meme coins as well, updated yesterday. But I think there's some really important notes here on where we're seeing the trend of leaders on AI meme coins, or sorry, just meme coins in general. And Pepe up 3.8% yesterday to 3.8 billion, but up 8% in the last week. AI16Z was up 98% over the week term. Brett up 72% over the week. So you're seeing this real strong rebound on AI, or sorry, I keep saying AI, but on these meme coins. Pengu up 93% over the week. So really good, strong balance as Bitcoin has rallied back, and we're seeing kind of positivity across the board. Prediction markets for Bitcoin all-time high by the end of June is at 37%. So one to watch there on sentiment. That's
For
the
sure.
review. Looking forward to the rest of the show.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
There's a little
Rhodes.
less AI.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely interesting. The That's kind of nice. I kind of like that all time highs possibly by June 30th, especially if you climb a little bit higher here, which we'll go over the charts here in a little bit. We do see you guys in the chat. We do like to make this stream super interactive. We like to look at the chat and answer questions when we can. So definitely drop those in there when you have them. Comments as well, whatever. Standcraft says, is the current market condition calm before the storm? Um, Essentially, overall, I think that's what the last several months have been. Of course, could we come back down one more time, and price wise? Sure. But I think overall, yeah, this correction, especially the last few weeks, I think is a kind of a calm before the storm for sure. May be good, yeah, for sure. When you guys are free, do you think meme coins or will be over anytime soon? That's a great question. We're going to go into meme coins. That's one of the bigger topics today. But to answer your question, no, I don't think meme coins are done. I think meme coins will be continue to be the place where a lot of new capital comes in, a lot of new people enter in crypto for the first time. We saw it with Dogecoin in 2021. We've seen it with Pepe, Mog, where people come in for the first time with these meme coins and then they branch off into Bitcoin and learn about more of the other side of things. So, with that being said, I do want to talk to what I do want to actually play a clip from our TikTok. Real quickly, Team Six Crypto. You've probably seen this a lot on Max's Twitter at one point, but probably wondering, what the hell this is. It is actually a team and a group, and I want to hear what Team Six Crypto is to Max, but to strictly, as you can see here, biggest baddest gang in crypto. It's a kind of a team and a collective that we're building here, to put across these positive sentiment that again about how crypto is going to absolutely swallow the world, and the people who stay focused and the people who are stay patient are going to eat and do very well. Before I play this clip, Max, I mean, what does Team Six Crypto mean to you? I know the people who were watching last stream actually got a treat. You went into a little bit about the history behind the name of Team Six Crypto, but
Sure.
overall, like a brief overview. I mean, what is Team Six Crypto to you?
Well, to me, it's I've been blessed to watch traditional finance grow up from the Dow of 901 to now, and I feel the more we do these talks, and the more crypto evolves the way we sort of hoped it would way back at 705 on Bitcoin. Um, what I feel like my purpose was, strangely enough, it's almost metaphysical. I know this is going to sound weird, but I actually feel like the whole reason I did 43 years in traditional finance is to provide insight to a special group of people of the pathway we're going to travel in digital, and take all those lessons and be prepared, properly prepared for the currently, how do I put this? The opportunity that, in my opinion, is so large and so once in a century kind of event that it really can't be defined. Um, I think it is gigantic, and I think it is only for the patient. Um, there's already been a few questions about, for example, meme coins and seasons. And is it over? And is it? I think we're all going to learn. This is my opinion, but I think what we're all going to learn is there's no such thing as a cycle anymore. There's no such thing as meme coins are going to do this and Bitcoin is going to do that. But in order for the alts to do this, Bitcoin's got to do that and Ethereum's got to do this. And in other words, that is all learned from what I think is going to vanish in time, in that this is going to become so large and so inclusive, and so much capital is going to flow in that we're going to have to disconnect our minds from, oh well, if memes do this, then they must do that next, and if Bitcoin doesn't break this, then alts aren't going to do this, and if ETH comes down to here, well, then the whole fucking world's over. That's in my opinion, strongly believe that is all going to be disproven. That is all. It's all like think of think of how much a 6 month old is like a 5 year old, or how much is a 5 year old like a 15 year old, or how much is a 15 year old like a grown adult. In other words, this is so big and so young that you can't get yourself caught up in all these, well, if this does that, it's got to do this. That's going to block you from what's coming. Just let it unfold. Just let it all unfold, because I'm going to promise you this. It is so much bigger than what everybody thinks it is that you will be shocked. But I can't tell you when that is. I can just tell you, let the game unfold. Don't put frames around it. Don't put fences around it. Don't block your mind into that. Leave your mind open and ready for what's coming, because it's going to be a truckload of shit.
100%. I'm glad you ended on that, because I do want to pull up one of these clips. First of all, this Team Six Crypto TikTok we just started this week here, getting some nice clips up here, getting some nice views and a lot of
Now, Max, do
comments
you
on
see
here.
them?
Definitely go and check this out. Going to be a lot of the clips that we have from these streams with really cool
Let me tell you something.
AI kind of animations from my buddy and my kind of producer here. Can't stop me now. Go definitely check him out. Super talented with kind of stuff, but definitely check us out on both TikTok and Instagram. We'll be putting a lot of cool stuff on there. But I do want to specifically pull up this one clip. Where was it? Was it
Let
this
me tell you
one?
something.
Not that one. It was specifically the dump back up the truck one. Here, I'll find it. Oh,
This is where you back up the truck,
okay.
because what's ever
Yeah. Can you guys hear this?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is where you back up the truck, because what's everybody else doing? Well, if it's all red, we all know what they're doing. They're selling, okay? Well, do you actually think the crowd that is selling right this minute, after all this shit, do you think they're the guys that make money? I mean, no, they're not. The guys that are selling today are the guys that have been underwater for 6 months, over leveraged, and they've never fucking made money at all in this business. That's why they're selling. So if you act like the crowd that is selling on the 19th day of the month that's down, well, you're not separating yourself from the crowd. And the crowd does not do well, by the way. The crowd does not do well. Don't follow it.
Now that was a clip from one of our streams about 4 weeks ago, I think, where Bitcoin was down here, obviously consolidating for a while. The whole crowd, like Max was saying in the clip, was super bearish and super, hung up on all the tariff stuff. And as you heard, Max in that stream said, "Back up the truck." I think it was right here. We came down one more time, just barely, and obviously that was the bottom, at least for now. super, great. Again, on these streams, we've been really preaching again, just stay patient. And a lot of these, Max has been talking a lot on these streams here that every single time that there's one of these fear events, whether it's super, severe like now or whatever, it's always paid to be bullish on the other end. So we'll go over the charts here in a second. I do want to go to the chat. There's actually a lot of good questions before we move on. Soul says fire content. Yeah, I appreciate you, Soul. Kellen says there are countries with billions of humans to be investors who can't access the markets legitimately yet. 100% Kellen. That's what crypto, right, Max,
Yeah,
is going to allow people to access the markets that may have not been able to.
yeah. If they got a phone, they can buy money.
Awesome. Why do you go ahead, Ferloco?
No, I was gonna say it's the beauty of the stable coins. That's why you see
Exactly.
supply growing. It just allows borderless transactions. As Max says, from anywhere you can pretty much buy. And with banks actually adopting crypto, and in no time, it's going to be seamless. So agree.
100%. Great point. Dami, I saw something today that this company was raising money or whatever to get stable coins in like convenience stores in like, I forgot what country it was, but for sure it's happening. Damian Atri says, sorry, I'm butchering your name. You said, why do you think ETH performed bad recently compared to other coins? Like we talked about before here, like why ETH did this, whatever. Who knows? I mean, people could argue again because of meme coins dominance, push Sol up. But I think the point we're making on these streams here is that all of it's going to go up. ETH Sol. I think it's important to be in the ETH and Sol bucket, not ETH versus Sol. To me, there's no point for the what's it called, tribalism. Overall, I think ETH and Sol are going to go up, and I think ETH, especially with the institutions and we kind of picking ETH so far and all this stuff, I think is really going to do well from here. So, Bren, what do you think about Sui in the future? I think Sui's really solidified itself now as recently they did the whole thing with Pokemon. So obviously they have great operators behind the chain working on it and stuff, as well as being one of the top L1s. I do want to get into more of the bigger meat and potato topics here. We already do have 461 viewers. Obviously, Twitter doesn't show the current live viewership. By the way, I did actually just apply to finally. I thought I did it before, but for Abstract, let us know if you guys want us to see us on Abstract. We'd multicast both on Twitter and Abstract as well. Super cool. I like what they're doing, with Abstract as well. But as far as the Max, the last few days, obviously we like to touch on what's going on with China and the U.S. We're seeing a lot of back and forth, like, oh, the U.S. is, Trump says, oh yeah, we've been in talks with China, and then you hear China say, oh yeah, we haven't even talked to the U.S. And does this touch more to what you were talking about last week? How
Yeah,
China's going to say whatever to posture themselves to look good to
of
the
course.
people or all that.
Of course. Remember, they have 1.5 billion people that have a life in general that most people wouldn't want to have. And the thing that does that and makes them stay there is that they believe their quote leader is the leader of the world. And he's there to protect them, and he's there for their better interest, and he's there to be their tough guy. And, it's like a union leader. Think about what you think of when you think of unions. They break legs if you don't do their thing. Well, that's how China has to come across. And of course they're going to deny it. They're not going to actually admit they're groveling for a solution on a phone call. They're going to say, I'm not even talking to that guy. And then suddenly when the calls that are going on start going the way they would like them to go, then they'll say, we might be ready for a call. I'll tell you what, Donald, if you want to give me a call, I'll take your call. And then behind the scenes they'll continue negotiating, and then finally they'll each find a way so that Xi Jinping can get back on the press and say something to the effect, I took Trump's call. We had a good talk. I directed him exactly what I was prepared to do and not do. And I told him to go back to his drawing board and make sure he understood just how powerful China was, so that when he calls me back again, if I decide to take the call, I hope he's come up with a solution that I've defined for him. See, that sounds like you beat the crap out of your competitor in the discussion and that you're the tough guy. Okay. So then Trump will play that role and he'll say, okay, great. We've had a good talk. My friend in China and I have had a nice chat. We've had a couple of conversations now. And I think we're getting very close to a transaction that'll make everybody happy. Meanwhile, each step of the way, China's going to take credit for it because they're the tough guy. And he's going to remind everybody he's prepared to fight to the death. It's all a play. It's like a little choreographed dance.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I mean, and then as well as you're seeing more and more countries, or I think Besant or whatever said that India is like really easy to negotiate. You just see these more and more like talk about just these negotiations for trade deals, which again you were saying on these streams with us, from the very beginning, that wasn't very clear to people that this whole thing, again, was just to get the better trade deals for the U.S. And now you hear them specifically say that.
Oh, of
Um,
course. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. So, um, a few other things that have happened this week. I do the
I think it's also important to remark. I don't know if you guys have seen the earnings reports from both Meta and Microsoft,
Yeah. Big.
and we started the morning. I don't know if you guys saw, with market was scared because of GDP numbers and et cetera, right? And then the market's kind of like shrugged off all the bad news, and Bitcoin went from 93,000, it's almost back to 95,000. The S&P started down like close to 1%, and now is up in the green. I think April is actually gonna end up as a green month, if we end up green today. And then Meta and Microsoft just reported, just beat earnings by far. So it just goes to tell you that we were definitely. I think the Liberation Day was the bottom. Everyone was super scared after Liberation Day with tariffs, and it turned out that 40, I think it was 4,800 or 4,900, was really the bottom on the S&P. And if you bought then, you just had to be patient, and now you are in a very good position. So I think, whether we have to go through the situation, as Max mentioned, for a little bit longer or not, you just have to buy. This is definitely not a time to be scared and be selling. That's my perspective.
To that point, by the way, excellent point. You're exactly right. The each of those elements you touched on uh, say one thing, and that is big money understands our economy is smoking. Little money, scared money, doesn't understand, reads headlines, gets afraid, sells. It is the same thing that happens over and over again. Part of Team Six members' jobs is we're going to do our best to train you to think like big money. I don't care whether it's in stocks or in meme coins. If you think like big money arrives, but you've got to attract it the right way. And to the points just made, uh, recognize this: when this train leaves the station, the next station is going to be higher than you can imagine up this giant mountain we climb. Uh, our earnings are going to shock people. And let me tell you something, another 2 or 3 quarters down the road, when AI actually starts dripping down into the system, you are going to be dumbfounded at the beat rates and the amounts of money that will start flowing to the bottom line. Nobody is ready for it.
few are bullish enough. Huh? Um, no, great questions. A lot of participation in the chat today. We really appreciate it. What's up, Jeremy? He said, I love a big money brain, Max. Yeah. Diamond hands always win. Absolutely. On the right assets, 1,000%. Market is resilient. I know there's a few questions in here before we move on. Appreciate you, Brent, for the follow back. Yeah, I got you. What do you abstract 100%. What do you think about Sui being basically full of bots, though? I don't know what you mean by that. I know maybe you mean by the transactions. Yeah, I don't know too much about that. But yes, a few other things that happened this week. The federal regulators adopt a permissive stance on crypto. You see a lot about this. This is obviously big news for people who have no idea what this means. Max, what is what does this mean essentially with for the banks? Just for the person who has no idea what this means.
It means that pretty soon you're going to walk into your bank, and you know how they have those stand-up banners that tell you how much interest you're going to earn in their money market accounts or something
Yeah,
like that. It's going to have the electric bee on it, and it's going to say, "Please grab our brochure at your teller's counter." Talking to that we want to make you aware of all the Bitcoin related services we can now provide you. What it means is it's if you were wondering if the door was going to crack open and begin to let this avalanche of water out of the dam and into the system, that was the cracking of the door.
makes a lot of sense. Hell yeah. And then BlackRock, another one, looking to tokenize shares of its 150 billion Treasury Trust Fund. Sounds huge. People have no idea, Max. What this all about? What is this all about?
Well, it's effectively going to be their own stable coin. I mean, they're going to create a coin that is in their money market account. Eventually, they'll have their own money market account just for their coin. Look, what you're watching
Yeah.
is everything. If you were saying, let me think how to pose this. If 6 months ago the five of us sat down and said, "I'm sorry, this is six of us. Sorry about that. No, wait, it's five." If the five of us sat down and we all said, what would you want to see if you were on the verge of a flood of shift between old money and digital money? What would you want to see? And we would write down a bunch of stuff, and a whole lot of that list is happening right in front of us. A whole lot. Now, they look like one little one-off events. They look like, oh, well, they did that and they did that, and those other guys down the corner did that, and oh, the bank's got to do this, and somebody's doing something to their money market account, and I think the Fed said something about a sovereign something, and then there was going to be something about the state level, and gosh, all these little things are happening. Well, they're not little things, number one, and number two, they're all connected. Don't don't mistake this for accidents or coincidences. There are none, especially in the money business.
100%.
Massive change is underway. And the difference between embarking on that pathway now or waiting until you're, quote, more comfortable is expensive.
Yeah, you made a point again. Was it in a stream or something where you said, "Fuck." Uh, you either be for like people. I know you were talking about the story you were telling the guy. People will either be you either buy now or you buy when you're forced to or whatever.
Well, remember, change, any kind of change, okay, happens slowly at first and then all at once. So right now we're in the slowly at first stuff. Okay. Slowly. Everybody's impatient. It's like, oh my God, when is this damn season going to unfold? Well, the reason it's not unfolding is there is no season. It isn't about a season. It's about a paradigm shift. And paradigm shifts don't have seasons. They just come like avalanches. You say to yourself, wait a minute, I didn't realize that was going on. So anybody who decides that they're going to wait, the all at once means you have no choice left. Everything before the all at once says you get to choose. Okay, you get to choose to be involved. there will be a giant percentage of the population all over the world that will not get a choice. They will simply be told, welcome to the new world of money.
Wow, so poetic. No, humbled wines. Jeremy says you're right. You're ahead of things, Jeremy. That's the last. That was the next thing I was going to do. He says interest. That was the last next thing I was going to bring up. But he says interested on your thoughts on these U.S. states that are announcing strategic Bitcoin reserves.
Oh, yeah.
Arizona legislature pushes for state Bitcoin reserve. Obviously, this is the first state that got it through right, Max, the House and the Senate.
Yep.
And now it just needs to be signed by the governor. I did read somewhere that the governor said she or he, I forgot,
Yep.
may veto it.
Yep.
First of all, what are your thoughts on that? I'll know that. And then, someone asked in the chat, just overall, what are your thoughts on these Bitcoin strategic reserves for the states?
Yeah, well, obviously that would have been one of the items the five of us would have written down to really be serious about whether or not Bitcoin was going to explode. And they're happening. But I want you to picture this in your mind. I want you to pretend that we're all in this nice sized private jet, and we're flying somewhere. I'm trying to think where we could fly, where it's nothing but desert all around. And then all of a sudden on the horizon, our pilot kind of circles as we prepare for landing at this landing strip that is literally in the middle of nowhere. It is connected by concrete platform to a large, what looks like industrial building, again, in the middle of nowhere, just one building. And we notice as we're landing on this barren area, we notice that there's two tables in front of one door in this building. Big building, one door, two tables, middle of nowhere. Imagine all of the heads of state, all of the treasurers, all of the CFOs in public companies, all of the states that now have Bitcoin reserves approved, every single millionaire, every single billionaire, every single pension plan, pension fund manager, consultant, every single bank trust department manager, every single insurance company trust department manager. Imagine all those guys filling up the parking lot with their private jets, standing in front of those two tables and signing in to buy their first Bitcoin. And by the way, they're not coming to buy a Bitcoin. They're coming to buy billions at a stack.
I saw that they 10% of the state's
Yeah,
treasury or something.
3.1 billion first buy.
Yeah.
But imagine hundreds of them lining up at that one door, because in that one door is the 21 million Bitcoin. That's it. There's only one building and everywhere that has the Bitcoin. Picture that in your mind and then ask yourself for a second, if that picture unfolds, what do you think is going to happen to Bitcoin?
Big up. 100%. Few comments in the thing. Miss D says, "What's up, Max? Thanks, he wrote B3O. What's up, Miss D? Wonka Meta. What's up? After the CME gap is filled on Bitcoin, what happens next? We'll go over the chart here in a little bit. But yeah, great points. Obviously, this is just more leading to again just crypto, just absolutely, just this greater merge that we're talking about here. And then there was a UK sets out new rules for crypto. So a lot of people are saying they're kind of just taking the kind of a whole approach that the US did, kind of just embracing crypto. Do you think this is just going to be one by one, kind of a domino effect, Max,
It's an arms race.
for
Remember,
a lot of these countries
remember for
kind of taking this stance?
yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me speak?
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right.
Hmm.
Max, you're good. I
Okay.
can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you both. You guys are good. I don't
Okay.
know.
Good. So here's what you're watching with this UK headline. You remember the last few streams we have said you're going to watch a new arms race unfold. It's not going to be about weapons. It's not going to be about submarines. It's not going to be about nuclear war. It's going to be about money and who controls as much of the new money as possible. That's going to be the new arms race. You're going to watch every country have one of these headlines or something sort of like it, but everybody is strategizing. And then one day you're going to wake up and then somebody's going to say, one of these countries, let's pray that it's the United States. But one country is going to say, guess what? You know that purchase, that really big purchase of $1.5 billion from Michael Saylor last week, and he got himself to 553,000 tokens? Well, we just bought 553,000 tokens, and that's our first buy. And we're going to do that every week for the next 4 weeks. See you there. I'm exaggerating slightly, but my point is when countries start buying, it will be like an earthquake erupting. Uh, I know it sounds repetitive, but just be patient because no one is able to define how big this is.
Wow. No, I would say somebody who would ask maybe who's new and maybe doesn't know your history. You've been, you invested since the Dow was at what number again? I'm sorry.
901.
Somebody would say, why are you so sure of this huge merge? Is it more of like obviously you've seen what happened with the traditional system, a lot of stuff. Is a lot of it like
Yeah.
intuitive or what would you say to that?
Well, I tell you what, part of it is just, it's going to sound stupid, but after 43 years, you just get you just get a feeling about the way trends are unfolding. Let me paint a picture for you, and I'd like you to pretend that it's a couple years down the road, and Tesla still sells cars, but they also now sell humanoid robots. And these robots are kind of cool because they know everything in the world. They know everything that's ever been known. And they just sit there until you tell them what to do. By the way, they're going to cost about 20 grand. And I and my partner here at the office, I was talking about it yesterday after coming back from that conference. And I said, you know what we're going to be able to do? We're going to be able to walk in the morning and tell our robot friend everything we want done for that day. Then we're going to tell them which computer to sit at. And then we're going to tell them to turn it on and go to work. And we need all of that by 5 o'clock. And then they're going to give us that stuff at 5 o'clock, completely done in a way that no human could have ever done it in an 8 hour period. Literally impossible. Okay. And then what we're going to do is very interesting. We're going to say, thank you, our robot friend, for all this work you did today. Now we're going to leave the office. And here's what we want you to do during the 12 hours before we get back. And then we're going to give them a whole nother list of stuff to do. Because remember, robots don't do anything except what you tell them to do. They don't rest. They don't go eat. They don't use the restroom. They don't take a break. They just keep doing what you tell them to do. So we're going to have a whole nother workday worked into this robot friend. And when we walk in the next morning, we're going to have everything we wanted done already done. Now, just picture where that world goes and then ask yourself this. In a world that has robots that know everything that's ever been known and they're ready to do whatever you tell them to do, and they cost 20 grand, you tell me if you think that world is going to operate on a financial system that was built centuries ago. It's not going to happen, guys. It's
Yeah,
not.
it's just the next progression of things. Crypto. Um, Absolutely. Still Trippin says, "Yo, Brent, thanks for the list of alts you posted. Always like researching the ones you guys are buying. 100%. I appreciate that. With that, I do want to do a little bit of a reset. This is, 48 minutes in. We're already at 788 viewers. We thank you so much for being in here with us, guys. Again, we've just been going over a lot of the more positive stuff. It's really easy to focus on the fear-based stuff with the tariffs and recession talk. We do go over that. Max has a lot of experience in these different kind of quote unquote crises, but we like to really spend a lot of time focusing on the big stuff like Max is talking about. That's structural. That's going to make sure this industry is here decades from now. That's not only just going to make sure we're going to be able to trade our shit coins, but that this technology is really going to like transform everybody's daily life. And everybody who's involved now, who stays patient, focused, invested in the right assets, are going to do very well. God willing. Uh, the one, what I was going to do is 804 people in here. Like I said, if you guys could please retweet, comment on the stream so we can get this out to more people. Appreciate you guys so much for being on here. Again, we do these streams Tuesday, usually Tuesday. We had to reschedule today's stream till Wednesday, but usually Tuesday, 1 p.m. PST, and then Friday, 10 a.m. PST. Not only we're going to go over these kind of stuff that's happening in crypto, charts, meme coins, NFTs, but plan on having a lot of interviews and people on kind of telling their stories. There's a lot of untold stories in the meme coin and crypto world. So looking forward to that. If you guys have any suggestions or anything that you want to see, both analysis wise or just anything, let us know. I'm working with my boy real quickly. One more thing. I'm working with my boy. What's it called? Can't Stop Me Now. We're gonna revamp this whole thing where with the actual stream, gonna be able to put your guys' comments on the screen. Bunch of really cool shit. So again, retweet, put on post notifications so you don't miss a stream. And then follow everybody on the panel. And then Boss Man Calls Telegram. That's where you'll find me right now. That's where you'll find me. Oops, I didn't mean to open Telegram. That's where you'll find a lot of my stuff. Again, Twitter posts a lot of tweets, but a lot of the write-ups that I do, meme coin calls when stuff's good, tips and tricks, educational stuff, sometimes VC streams, giveaways. So if you're not in there, definitely check that out. Like I said, follow Max. Again, just getting really active on here. We have a lot of cool stuff coming on the Team 6 YouTube. We'll be on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. So definitely check out those pages and stay tuned for that. For Loco, want to tell them a little bit about what you guys got going on with B3L right now?
Yes, most definitely. Yeah. So B3L, Bridge 3 Labs, is a group of investors and entrepreneurs. We started our journey, I believe, was at the beginning of 2022. We had seen, I guess, a gap in the market where there were a lot of people that were interested in investing, but were a little bit lost or wanted to deploy capital in different areas. But they were unsure of how to do it, and they were having some issues with scams, securities, etc. Stuff, wallet security, and other concerns that they had. So we started this community of 1,000 NFTs called B3L Beasts, which you can find on Magic Eden. It's a collection of 1,000 NFTs on Ethereum. And once you join, you have access to pretty much a source of knowledge and resources that we have been providing for the last 3 years. You have access to trading dashboards. You have access to a few individuals and analysts that help you with trading and getting comfortable with deploying capital in crypto, as well as we provide access to IDO and NFT kind of like opportunities, whether it's new mints or whitelists that we source through our partners. So just explore it. You can find us on Bridge 3 Labs on Twitter, and take a deep dive. And if you resonate with what we do, we'd love to have you join us. And other than that, we will be doing these spaces twice a week with Brand, Max, and team, and we're excited to be here.
Right on. And then somebody asked if we're ending the stream. No, we're going to be on for a little bit. A few of us might hop off, but myself, Max, and whoever else will be on for quite a while longer. So we just wanted to do a quick reset. Again, appreciate it. We already have 838 people on here at some point. Again, really appreciate you being on here. What was I going to say? Vexar sure will.
You,
Best.
do you have time to pull up the X page so they know which address I'm at too?
Yeah, for sure. You're talking about your page, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I think I don't know, maybe I was talking about it earlier and I wasn't sharing on the actual screen. If so, my bad. But yes, this is Max's Twitter page. Definitely give him a follow on there. We'll have another, pretty soon here, a Team Six crypto page that we'll be posting a lot of our other content. But this is Max's page here. Definitely check out what he's got going on. A lot of great tweets on here, and then other content that'll be on. A lot of people, we talk about Michael Saylor on here a lot. I know you're a huge fan of him, and I think all of us should be. He's a great evangelist for Bitcoin, and a lot of people, again, you just see like the whole consensus around Michael Saylor and a lot of things in crypto is when it first comes out is just to think about what could go wrong. You see these tweets going around, and in part it does get a lot of engagement and stuff, so that's probably why. But people saying, "Oh, what I saw the other day, at what percentage of Bitcoin?" Because I think he owns like 2.6% or something.
Right.
At what percent of Bitcoin does Michael Saylor become the villain? And you see this whole narrative around that, and a lot of things where just thinking about what could go wrong. And I guess it does take a lot of faith because most people, if they do have billions of dollars, they're gonna sell some. But what would you say to that to people saying that are just meeting it with pessimism and saying, "Oh, Michael Saylor's obviously going to sell his Bitcoin," and
I'd say
um,
I'd say they're required.
yeah,
See, here's the sad part about all paradigm shifts. There's got to be meat to put into the grinder. And the meat that is put into the grinder is all those who don't believe there's a paradigm shift underway. Because eventually they're forced to believe. So, where you really want to worry, it's kind of like when I tell everybody about stocks. Where you want to worry is when all your friends are having, this is how much money I made this week in the stock market parties. In other words, when they're all telling you all the great things about stocks, especially the guys who used to tell you all about the bad things in stocks, that's when you worry. You don't worry when there's a vast number of people telling you how stupid you are. In fact, you embrace that. You say, "That's wonderful. I'm glad you have that opinion. I would appreciate it if you would keep that opinion for a long time. And if they happen to be stupid enough to ask how long, tell them, I don't know, 8 figures would be good." And they won't get it.
yeah, absolutely. If everybody was on this side of the coin, like believing that Michael Saylor could do no wrong and everything, then that's probably when you'd need to worry more. I definitely you need people on the other side of the coin. Philip, yeah, I appreciate you, Philip. But yeah, with that, let's see. Is there anything, Max, off top of mind, like topic wise, that I missed?
Um, I would like to talk a minute about GDP.
Yeah, let's do it. Anything you want me to pull up?
Don't need to. Don't need
Okay.
to. Um, I was absolutely fascinated this morning when, right after GDP, a whole slew of financial metrics came out on CNBC. And their reporter from the Board of Trade did all the releases as he usually does. And what I was fascinated with is that each one of these items, personal income, retail spending, um, housing purchases, all of them, everything about the consumer blew through expectations. I mean, just blew through them. And when it went back to the desk at CNBC, here's how they introed out of hearing all these just knock your socks off strength indicators in the economy. Here's how they started it. Thanks very much. But now back to the GDP miss, and that was it. You never heard any more about all the great reports. What you heard about was the GDP miss, the negative GDP. Now, I don't want to bore anybody to death, but GDP is an amount of production on United States soil after you subtract the trade deficit. So when you see some weird looking GDP number in the middle of a very busy world, you have to say to yourself, does it really look like we have a recession? Does it really look like we have negative growth going on all around me? And the answer is, unless you're standing in Antarctica or the North Pole, the answer is no. For an averagely, brilliant person to notice. Now, what does that tell you? It says, well, I better look in that subtraction number. I better find out what they subtracted from GDP. And here's what the interesting part was. The net impact of imports was a 4-point swing on GDP. Now, why in the world did we have so many imports this time around? And here's what it was. You can read about it. Just Google how many gold bars were imported into the United States in the first quarter of 2025. Show me in bar chart form. And here's what you're going to see. You're going to see a bar that is so large for quarter number 1, 2025, that it makes every bar in the entire history of charts so tiny you can barely see it. So you might be scratching your head and saying, why in the world would all those gold bars come into the United States in the first quarter of 2025? I mean, did that really affect negatively our GDP growth? Well, of course it didn't. A gold bar being imported into the United States because we thought it existed at Fort Knox and it doesn't. That's the key. Just because that happened does not mean our GDP went down. It actually has nothing to do with it. So it's a complete facade. It's like a mirage in the desert. And that's why, as rightfully brought up earlier, that's why the market started down. Well, who do you think sold on the open? Dumb money, people who believe headlines, people who are scared, people who have no idea what they're talking about unless the talking heads on CNBC tell them, and they choose to believe those idiots. So what did they do? They sold. And who do you think bought? All the people that know that GDP report isn't worth the paper it's written on. It means absolutely nothing. So I thought I'd point that out.
Awesome. Love that. And again, if you guys you're already on Twitter right now, you see Max Crypto 6 on the panel, second name there. Click that, give this guy a follow. Again, big things coming content wise. And again, he's just a positive person that you want to be following on your feed every day. So appreciate that, Max. I do want to go into a little bit the charts. I know a lot of people are wondering what's up with Bitcoin. Again, we talk about heavily in these streams that the chart stuff again is just a way for people to feel comfortable about their bias and everything. And again, I think there is some stuff chart wise that can give you a bit of an edge. Certain principles like consolidation, corrective behavior, a lot of the stuff that I talk about in these streams. But again, something could happen right now where Bitcoin could make another low, or it could go straight to 100. For me, 95K, the prior bounce high on any correction is usually a good thing, where if it does start to close above that there's a high percentage that it does go to high, all-time highs from there. But again, one of two things could happen. I think just based on what we're looking at here, I do think Bitcoin does move higher from here very likely and pulls off something like we saw Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not even sharing the chart screen. All right, so I'm switched to the right tab now. Uh, the Bitcoin chart, I think we're going to see something probably similar to what we saw here in April 12th to April 20th, a couple weeks ago, where consolidation that led to prices higher. But again, we could break below here and form one more low in the 70s. I think, what's important to focus on is just let this thing fucking play out. I do think over the next 6 months to a year, crypto, at least the good assets, the majors, the good memes, NFTs are going to be much higher from here. And we just need to be patient. I think Sol looks a little bit different to me here. I do think it's a bit more corrective on the lower time frames. Again, pointing to a very high likelihood that we do move higher. I expect, ETH obviously underperforms fucking Sol, worse than Bitcoin, whatever. I think all of these assets are going to follow Bitcoin to the upside over the next several months. And like we've said, and we highlighted in this last stream, if you throw a dart at the fucking top 50, any of these coins that have any type of real technology, obviously including ETH, Sol, Sui, somebody mentioned earlier, Avalanche, I really like as far as an L1. Throwing a dart at those coins and just having a bit of patience, being able to buy and hold for a couple years potentially at least, you should do very well, I think. Um, but yeah, chart wise, I think we're really just waiting for the majors. I think if they do move up a bit higher, I think it's very likely that the momentum is just going to carry it away. But even if we get another move down somehow, I think I made a tweet here recently that if somehow you do get a move down, really consider it a blessing, and buy the fucking dip essentially. Um, Let me was gonna pull up this. Yeah, this one right here, sitting on the above the most obvious higher time frame corrective channel I've ever seen. If it somehow does move down at all, load the fuck up. I think just loading up, even not even having to wait. But if it somehow does give us another move down in this channel, and you're not at least holding the good assets, I don't know what to fucking tell you. I think obviously to me, chart wise, even if we did get another move down, this is so much obviously a corrective behavior versus
He left. Oh, he's back.
new
Brandon,
X
you
account. Yeah,
good?
we're working on that. Humble. What do you say?
You just disconnected.
I don't know. Is he cutting out for me or is it all of us?
You're good. Just keep going.
I think this whole thing's tripping out. He might have. Can you hear me, Danksy?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we're
I
good.
can't. The chat just completely disappeared. Okay. Okay. I
Oh,
think we're
well,
back. Hopefully.
we might need to
Danksy,
launch
can you confirm you
our
can
own.
hear me, bro?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear?
I don't know what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yes. I think we're gonna have to launch our own product here.
I don't know if it's me or you or what the hell's going on, but what do I think about Say for Loco? Can you hear me, bro? Yeah, I don't know. Hello,
Brent, can you hear? Hello,
Dude,
hello.
yeah, we can hear you. Hello? We can hear you. You're good.
Yeah,
hello, hello.
I think he's not hearing.
I don't know.
Hello.
Brent?
Can you guys hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? I don't even know. Can anybody hear me?
Yes, dude. You can hear us. Yeah, it's gone. Should we keep buying the dip? He's not even dipping,
Yes,
actually.
we should. Every dip.
Every dip?
By
You get a
every
good place to trade FX. I think it's a good entry on the
by
yen trade right now.
every dip. Every dip will be good.
Every dip. Let me see.
Maybe I can try to answer some of the questions that are in the chat here. Oh, is he coming back?
Yeah, I think we're back. Did the stream just F?
Are you
No,
here? Can you
you
hear us,
did.
Bren?
Okay, but is it still on or no?
Yeah, the stream is still here. Can you hear us? Hello, Bren. Oh, he
He
left.
just left. I think he's having problems.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep.
Yo,
Yep.
Did
Bren.
the stream end?
no, it's just
Oh,
you.
Okay, so is it showing? It's showing 0. So we're still on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because it's just showing 0 viewers for me. I must have fucked up.
no. It's,
Anyways, I apologize, guys. I think my internet went out. Let me share my screen here really quickly again. Is Max still here,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
or did he exit out?
Oh, God.
I'm sure he'll come back. But
You
yeah,
can't hear me.
that was crazy because he went out the same time as me. Um, Still tripping says, "Do you think we're getting another dip, or is now a good time to buy?" I think whether we get another dip or now, not, it's a great time to buy great crypto assets right now. I think most people just have not enough patience. They ask what's going to happen in the next week, 2 weeks. Nobody fucking knows that. If you have a year long, 2 year time frame, which I think is the only way to really gauge this type of shit, you're gonna need a longer time horizon. I think Max is back. We're already at 1K viewers again. I appreciate you guys so much. If you're just coming on the stream, we're talking about Bitcoin price. We talked a little bit earlier about the trade war, as well as a lot of the great stuff going on in crypto right now as far as legislative regulatory clarity. So check that out after the stream's over. But if you have any questions, comments about meme coins, Bitcoin, majors, any of that, or from Max. Again, this guy has so much experience in TradFi, everything you can imagine. Been on panels with so many the crazy people would make your fucking head spin. If you have any questions for him or any of us, definitely leave that in the chat.
Yep.
We're gonna talk about meme coins, NFTs, a bunch of other stuff here in a second. Um, but yeah, 1K viewers, good to see here. I know seems like a lot more people over the last few weeks or last week really are kind of starting to check back into crypto. Starts to happen usually when Bitcoin starts to head back up. So, for Loco, you still there with us, brother?
Yes, I'm here.
Have you noticed that as well? It seems like I've definitely noticed it in the Telegram channel from people, more engagement, but it seems like a lot more people just from the slight, 25% Bitcoin move, whatever it is, are really starting to at least be back more on crypto Twitter and Telegram and all that. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you notice that. I mean, even if the I guess the biggest indicator is when the liquidity is floating from majors to meme coins. I mean, we haven't had this meme coin activity since I want to say since we had that first big drop on February, right? I think it was January, February. Everyone, kind of like exited the this call and cold trenches in crypto, and it's been very quiet. But in the last few weeks, we've had a couple of runners here in meme coins, and I know we're gonna be pivoting to meme coins soon. But yeah, I definitely see the timeline and the noise coming back a little bit. So whether that is a good indicator or not, we'll have to see. But definitely, there's more noise out there, more activity.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's something that naturally happens just as, Bitcoin and stuff starts to go back up. We're already starting to see, like you said, we will pivot into meme coins right now. That there is a lot of the newer coins, as well as some of the other coins we've been talking about on here, really starting to have a resurgence. Obviously, House Coin being a big one this week. Um, House Coin still going up today. Had a big consolidation. Had a couple bigger runs earlier in the month, and then consolidated here for 2 weeks. And then I think Ansem tweeted about it or around that same day, and it's just had a massive run from 13 million to 111 million. To
Yeah.
me, I did buy a bit of House Coin back right here. So I have like a 3x on it. Definitely didn't get it very
You
early,
can
like
see
a
your
lot of these
screen
other.
here.
Oh shit, dude! I have it on the tab only, so usually I'm used to having the whole thing shared. So thank you.
Yeah,
How
no, how did do you guys know how this one started? I know someone was this a TikTok meme or what was it? I
No,
mean, I
I
know
think
you
it's a
guys have
crypto Twitter thing. It's like the
Yeah.
whole thing is like, oh, like the housing market, everybody's fucking priced out of the housing market.
Right, right.
Like, it's impossible to, the American dream of having a house. This is from one of the content I've seen. Like the American dream of having a house is like out of most people's reach. Just buy the fucking house, just house coin instead.
There's always some hopium out there. Unfortunately, this is going to end up very bad for most. But
Yeah,
hey, as long as it, as long as the,
they're
the
going
thing
to be
is
they're going to be farther away from a house.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
that's right.
For sure. I mean, maybe, usually again, it's a good point that all of these coins at one point are going to go through a major like 80 to 90% correction. Um, but
Especially about how fast it moves, right? When you see other meme coin projects that have developed over the last 6 to 12 months, you can kind of like understand, okay, that can have more of a, I guess sustainable rise. But this one, I mean, you look at the chart. If you, I mean, like if you enter this token in the last week or so, I mean, you have to be ready to be exiting soon here or not. I mean, like from my perspective, can it go higher for sure? But it's this vertical pattern normally tends to end up very bad. So we'll see.
yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, buying this high up is usually definitely not like give you a great odds compared to buying, like we were saying, early April. Um, but I think it's possible that this thing catches the tailwinds of the overall market heating up, and who knows, maybe go straight to a billion. But you're right. You definitely want to be more so buying it, when it's
Yeah.
early April, like 10 days ago or whatever, versus on the way up here.
Yeah.
Um, hundred
See,
percent.
I think the edge on meme coins was really about like end of March, beginning of April, as you mentioned, because back then you only had Farcoin really going up, and so you either allocated to Farcoin or maybe you started to kind of like slightly allocate to other meme coins like SPX and Popcat and other ones that are have been leaders for a while. But now you're seeing liquidity really spreading from. I mean, Farcoin is still up, but it hasn't really moved as much in the last week or 2 weeks compared to other ones where liquidity really is spreading to other meme coins where people are trying to capture those gains, hoping that the market is back and Bitcoin is going to reach all-time highs. So now it's getting more and more difficult where liquidity is scattered and people are going to start to take profits aggressively. I mean, I don't know, you guys saw that Cerebro token went from like I think like 10 20 million to 100 million in one day, and I think now it's back to 50.
What is
But
it?
Cerebro, oh,
Cerebro or Cerebro?
Cerebro or Cerebro. I don't know how you guys
Wait, no, Zero Bro, right?
Zero Bro, right? I
Okay,
thought it
sorry. I
was.
thought you said cerebral for a second or some
Well,
shit.
I thought that's how you pronounced it, right? Isn't that like brain but with a Z in Spanish?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's
I think
also
that's
with
what
a
it
bro.
is.
I think it is like cerebral, but with a bro, like because it's
So if
also
you replace the C for a C, like from like a C from like whatever, like cat, that
yeah.
means brain in Spanish, which
Ah,
means that maybe that's what it means, right? It's an AI token representing the brain. I don't know.
I
Maybe
think it's
that.
like a
Maybe.
double entendre with also because it's a like the guy. It's like a bro, because
Oh,
it's
maybe true.
yeah. Definitely good point. Uh, um, uh, I know you have a different username, but he says Lexapro Trader is the one behind Housecoin. Yeah, Lexapro Trader.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
Lexapro Trader, good
He was
guy.
also fairly early into Farcoin.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's done good trades.
yeah, for sure. I'm more of like a buy and hold, like kind of different. But I do respect a lot of these guys who do the whole newer coin thing like the right way and kind of like lead things transparently and aren't doing shady stuff as far as the shorter term stuff. And I think that Lexapro people out there like that. There's good people with good intentions out there. So um, even in the lower cap game, Trump live now announcing energy infrastructure spending. Interesting. Max, you still with us?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Or is he signed off? I can't even tell.
No, I'm here. Hello, hello.
Um,
Yeah, he's there. I can hear him.
Yeah,
you can hear him?
I'm
Yes.
here. Yeah,
I can't hear him.
that's weird.
He's
Can
talking right now?
can everybody?
I'll let you know, Brent. Max, do you wanna kind of like give your thoughts, and then I'll tell Brent when you stop speaking.
Wait, so he's really talking? That's insane.
I tell you what, I'll just sign off and sign back in. Maybe it'll click back on for Brent.
Okay, he's just signing off and coming back.
Yeah, it might just be me, but that's really weird. Oh,
Yeah, but as I was saying, Brent, it looks like the meme coin market is slightly coming back with some hope. but it's getting more difficult, right? You're seeing a ton of tokens up like 30-40% on the day. And where do you really allocate? Do you go back to the previous ones that were successful before the January drop, or do you bet on the newer ones? That's kind of like, there's a lot of people kind of like here, undecided, I believe. I don't know if you guys see the same.
Absolutely. You hear a lot right now going around about like memes 2.0 and stuff like that. Well, I do think a lot of the house coins, the tick coins, like a lot of these newer ones do have a chance of doing well. There is like legitimate communities going around on it. I think saying memes 2.0 kind of suggests that this is like the second run of meme coins, and that, kind of ignores. And again, I think the coins that people do attribute to this memes 2.0 thing are going to do well. I'm not saying that the premise doesn't make sense, but I do think it kind of ignores the fact that a lot of these coins, Giga SPX, Mog, Fartcoin, Bit ticker Bitcoin, even Sui, or not Sui, Lofi, a lot of these other coins have been through these crashes, 3 to 5 times, and have come out of these. I think those for me are just the more surefire bets and the ones that I'm continuing to
Yeah.
buy, because not only are they, I think they're going to recover, and I think they have a way higher chance of going back to all time highs. But we've seen these coins that have the good supply distributions. Every time they crash 80 to 90%, they have a better chance at sustaining high market caps, because again, that supply is in the diamond handed holders that aren't cheating on the way up.
Yeah.
I do think one more thing, Titcoin and all that could definitely be there, but it needs to go through those 80, 90% crashes in order to see that. So I just put them in a different category personally, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I see someone in the comments saying AI runners from December look to be waking up. And my issue with AI tokens, I mean, aside from Farcoin, which to me is not really an AI token, but the idea is, when a meme coin goes down 80 to 90% and is so new, there has to be something really, really like fundamentally interesting for it to come back to all time highs. Like when you, for instance, to compare it to tokens like Popcat or SPX or Giga with communities, as you mentioned, and the tokens well distributed, the supply, then there's definitely a possibility that they come back stronger. But for the AI tokens, most of them were vaporware, but like truly vaporware, not even like actual communities behind them. And so I struggle to think that, I mean, maybe AI 16C is one of those that actually, because I believe they're building and there's a team behind it, but most AI tokens will never come back, right? And so when you look back at the board and people are trying to make bets on Cerebro and all these ones, to be honest, I'll be cautious and I'll start from the top, from like infra, like virtual and AI 16C as my initial bets on AI. And then if you really want to take the risk, you can go for other ones. But I've been kind of like cautious to deploy capital on AI meme coins because I don't really see. I mean, if they went down so hard, like 90% within a month, there's just, I don't think some of these rallies will be sustained. I think it's just hype. That's my perspective.
100%. And you're right. You're 100% right about that. I think most of these coins that go through these 90%, when the music stops temporarily, for the meme coin market, whether you most of the time because Bitcoin comes down, there's going to be shit that goes down and dies. But to my point earlier, I do think that this, another tweet I put out since we've had these streams, I think kind of highlights this point kind of perfectly. Where is it? In the meme coin world full of, oh, it's right here. In the meme coin world full of bundled rugs, the only thing we have is like these these coins with great supply distributions, and the only way you really get that good supply distribution is through these big corrections, right? So what a lot of people like kind of think of like the end and the death and all these bad things for meme coins, the 70 to 90% correction is actually what makes and really decides whether the coin's great or not.
Yeah.
So to your point, I do think yes, 100%. Most of these coins are vaporware and probably won't come back, but the ones that do come back are going to show us right here. And I do think AI 16Z, again, a lot of it is because I talk about a lot of these streams in my content. It doesn't matter meme coins. Like I even realized for meme coins this is true lately. All that matters in the long term. I'm talking multiple years is the operators and the people running the fucking project. With meme coins, it's it's not just the team. It can be like the core community of a few hundred people.
Mhm.
And NFTs, it's the founder and the team.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that drives these things
It's
along.
influence and marketing. That's really what meme coins are about, right? Like whether it's one figure, like we had Murad with SPX, or like Ansem with Bobcat. Sorry, with With. There's either like a figure that people respect and follow, or there is a community that is relentless, right? And for that to happen, you have to have very healthy supply token dynamics, right? Like you have to have the token gone, as you mentioned, multiple 70 to 80% corrections, and the community is still rallying behind it. But if the token is not well distributed, and it went up super fast, and it came down as just as fast, you can probably bet that that's never going to come back. Um,
Or
yeah, I like
definitely low
Arc.
probability for
I was
sure.
looking at that one too, but it doesn't seem to be coming back as strong as other ones, like Virtuals or AI16C, referring to Arc here.
Yes, and again, I made a mistake again. I didn't tell the editor here that Max did, at least right now, switch his tag and his username. So definitely his new, like I said here, it is tagged wrong in the live stream because again, we just he had a change of his at. So if you're on here again and you haven't already, right now go to Max Crypto 6. Go ahead and shoot him a follow. Somebody did bring that up that I have the wrong at still listed because since the last stream he did change his name. So thank you Vexar for saying that. Here it's right here. Actually, I didn't share the screen. I'm gonna leave that up there for a second. But Rojam says also AI runners from December look to be waking up.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the one I responded recently. That's the question I responded.
my
Yeah.
bad. No, you were 100%. The Rojan again. A few of them are coming back. I think again, my point with the operators. I think AI16Z has like an actual team like building shit that I would think if the whole AI sector comes back, that AI16Z should do all right.
Someone says Max left to buy the fucking dip. That's right.
Yeah, 100%. He might be here. Maybe he's just. I don't know. That's so weird. You guys could hear him.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect, perfect.
You can't hear me?
Now we can hear you now. I couldn't hear you a
Oh,
second ago before you signed out or whatever.
oh, you guys were just talking, so I was just staying quiet.
Okay, perfect. No, no worries. Um,
What are your thoughts on Pengu, Max? You must be
Oh,
happy, right?
yeah, I bought some more.
Nice.
but but yeah, I got we got pretty lucky. We just talked about that a couple streams ago, and
You literally bought the bottom or very
yeah,
close to it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
yeah,
that was pretty exciting to watch, and I think as the other smart guys on here, smarter than me on these, I think this. There's a long way to go here.
absolutely. 100% Max. As you see here, like I think I tweeted about it right here, but Max even on our stream a few days before that, um, like literally this stone cold bottom. For me, Pengu. Again, I hate to reference my tweets, but I think this puts it or so many times, but I think it puts it into perspective again. I think for a lot of these early NFT projects, it's like, again, imagine being able to invest in like Disney, Marvel, Looney Tunes, stuff like that at the ground floor. And being, also being able to have digital collectible membership and like, programmable utility. I think, again, that's what a lot of these early NFT projects are. And it's not super clear right now. Obviously, like, of course, oh, it's not people say it's not an investment, whatever. Overall, I think a lot of these projects actually may offer, tokenized stocks to the actual company. That's something a whole other thing. But either way, I think the point still stands that we're entering a whole new world, like Max was saying, and a lot of these NFT projects right now are the equivalent of investing into these early IPs. Like the opportunity to invest in Marvel or Disney or fucking Looney Tunes because of this whole shift that we're entering with crypto. As crypto and NFT technology takes over everything, like Max was kind of talking about, so too will those dominant crypto IPs become very, very popular. And for me, I think the most obviously it could change. There's going to be people that are added to this list, maybe a few that knocked off, but I think right now, VFriends, Pudgy Penguins, Bored Apes, Azuki are kind of the front runners. And I think to kind of touch on Pengu and why I think it's going to do well is, again, it has that operator behind it, the team behind it that's going to push it, integrate it into different things. And that's why I'm so bullish on fucking Pengu. I think it's a way to also a way these NFT coins. I think we're going to get one with VFriends, and a lot of these other ones are going to be a way for the average person to speculate and to have ownership of these NFT projects and these IPs without having to buy a $50,000 pudgy penguin, right? So definitely bullish as fuck on Pengu. I think going to go to all time highs.
Have you
And
heard back from Abstract yet, Brent?
no, I only did it like 2 or 3 days ago. But I think what's his name got the follow from Luca. Hopefully he gets me in quicker.
Nice.
No, I'm just playing. But I do think hopefully we should be able to be on there and at least multicast here pretty soon. Really like what they're doing with Abstract, and I think it's going to continue to grow. And I think hopefully the whole tipping thing is really cool. I think hopefully Twitter integrates the whole payment thing here soon, so we can have that on Twitter streams. But fuck yeah, I really like what they're doing.
Yeah. The other project that I like, I don't know if you guys have mentioned it, but it's Hyperliquid. I've been buying some. I didn't buy the bottom like Max did with Pengu, but I bought some at 15 and 16, and now it's at 18. And I do think it's definitely. I was hearing spaces from people that I respect, very good traders and investors, and it's really one of the most exciting projects and technologies, I guess, that has been launched this cycle. Last cycle we had a few other ones, but I think that Hyperliquid, when you think about the 2023 to 2025 bull market cycle, right? Because we've been in a, I believe this has been a bull market, whether it has been as strong as we wanted, or as the kind of bull market we wanted. We probably had two or three major topics or metas. One has been meme coins. The other one has been AI. And then within DeFi or RWA, you probably have only a few DeFi projects that have been exciting, and Hyperliquid has to be probably, if not the top, one of the top ones. So I do think this token can definitely go back to all-time highs. And if you look at on-chain volume, I think they're like close to number one right now on trading volume when it comes to perps and futures, which is very promising for a young project. Is it going to take over Binance? Probably not, but it's definitely one of those projects that I would definitely keep my eyes out, because the founders keep reinvesting and buying back the token.
Where's the best place to buy this?
Hype.
Okay, yeah, Hype.
I buy it directly. Yeah, I buy it directly on on Hype, their platform. But I wonder, go to CoinMarketCap, Brent. See what platforms you can buy it on. I don't think it's on Coinbase.
Gotcha. Yeah, you could buy it on the most major exchanges, Max. I don't know if it's on Coinbase, but I know it's
No.
on Binance. We'll see right now. You're saying it's
Like,
not?
if you kind of like search, they will tell you the platforms.
Yeah, markets.
Okay.
Yeah, Mexi, KuCoin.
Unfortunately,
Like you were saying,
none of those are here in the U.S. though. That's the problem.
yeah, you're right. So the best is to buy it on chain through Hype. Well, Hype is on the Hype platform. Is on what chain? Arbitrum, or like they have their own chain,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So
they utilize Arbitrum. That's correct.
yeah,
Mhm.
Max, have you ever used Arbitrum chain yet?
I have not. No.
Cool. Yeah, well, we'll set you up with that. But yeah, you just have to bridge over to there, and you can buy it from there.
Okay.
Because yeah, like you said, these aren't any
I'd like to.
US.
Yeah, I'd like to buy some.
Cool. Yeah, we'll get you going with that. But yeah, Hyperliquid, I agree. I think a lot of these infrastructure plays kind of throw a dart at, the good ones are going to do well. Hyperliquid, obviously, people are using it. Good team, like you're saying, as so it seems. It looks like they're buying back the coins and all that. So I agree with that premise 100%. What was I going to say? I think I saw a comment. Yeah, it said Max left to buy the fucking dip. Is that what you were doing, Max?
No, that was this morning.
Okay, yeah, he already got his buying the fucking dip in today.
Yesterday and today. I even posted it when I was doing it yesterday.
Yep. On Twitter. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, I see you guys leaving the comments on here too. I saw a good one from OXX Faye. Said, been tuning into the spaces lately. Great mix of market talk, memes, and actual insight with the unusual hype. Team Six keeps it real. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you for being on. But yeah, we got people. This guy's a parody account. I don't know if he's trolling us, but no, I'm just playing. Um, but Bren, do you use Bolex? To be honest, man, I don't really use because I'm more of again buying and holding like these other memes where I don't necessarily use bots. If you're trading more of the lower cap stuff and you need to be like higher frequency, whatever, quicker into the trades for sure, definitely use them. For me, I use really just normal swaps because I'm buying and holding. I'm not doing the high frequency shit. So to be honest, no, I don't usually use Bolex.
I have a question. We're going to do a pop quiz real with this screen on the page.
All right.
Here's a pop quiz. If the third largest owner of Bitcoin bought $1.5 billion of it yesterday for 92 grand a coin, what in the world would you be afraid of?
Yeah. Blows my fucking blows my mind that people are like questioning Michael Saylor. Like obviously anybody's like could fuck up or whatever, but they think they're like smarter. Like the average person's like smarter than
Yeah,
these.
especially with the 21. Is it 121 Capital? 21.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Jack Bowers.
you're gonna see more and more groups coming up in the same way, whether it's a hedge fund or whether it's a fund or I think this was a SPAC. I want to say they went on a SPAC on a BIPO. I can't remember the exact vehicle it is, but we're gonna see the rise of new vehicles similar to MSTR, MicroStrategy, whether it's an existing company or newly funded ventures where they're gonna use Bitcoin as treasury. It's such an interesting and such an exciting way to pretty much park and utilize cash for hedging, for yield. There's a ton of different ways, even with this concept of bit bonds that I've been looking into, that provides like somewhere in between 1.5 and 4.5% yield. There's a lot of vehicle Bitcoin related instruments that I think are gonna create a lot of interest and investment. Just like a ton of investor excitement around this. So you're gonna see more and more. I don't know if as big as 21, but you're gonna see definitely more and more coming up, which will create further supply constraint or exacerbate the demand on Bitcoin in
Yeah,
the next years. So
for sure. No, and I wish I would have brought this up at the more beginning of the show. I think we'll touch on it again on Friday. But
yeah,
Max is really, really big on this. He DM'd me, I think, what fucking November, Max, 5 months ago, literally saying a lot of this shit that's playing out now, like with 21, with the Bitcoin, stocks being priced in Bitcoin, and you see Jack talking about Bitcoin per share. Max, just real quickly, again, I want to touch on it again next week to kind of the people at the top of the show be able to see, but. Is that how you see things going down? Is it going to be Bitcoin per share for these stocks, or will it be? Is it probably like a mix, right? Of Bitcoin per share as well as like, like you were saying, people holding a small percentage of the whatever fucking Tesla coin.
Well,
Uh,
here's what you're going to see. For Loco already touched on it. Really good insight there. Imagine all the different stocks we have available to us in old traditional finance, all the different companies. And then imagine a parallel pathway that has a bunch of different companies that focus on one thing. Who's the best at creating Bitcoin wealth? Who's the best? It'd be like who's the best software guy, and who's the best SaaS guy, and who's the best biotech guy, and who's the best Procter and Gamble, and who's the best 3M. Except they're all going to have a theme. We build Bitcoin wealth better than everybody else. We have this newfangled strategy that does this and this and this, and and that beats Michael Saylor. You're going to see a race like you've never seen before. It'll make the it'll make the tech bubble look like, you know, you fell off your skateboard. It Trust me, Wall Street will come up with a way to make Bitcoin cost $100 million a coin.
Wow. Wow. Fucking love that. Stan Craft says, can't wait. Yeah. Appreciate you guys for being on here. A lot of you guys for this whole 2 hours and 40 minutes. I want to touch on a lot of that more into depth a little bit on the next show. But yeah, it's super interesting. Yeah, I mean, Max, as far as, price, who knows what's going to happen, but as far as the crowd and all that, what do you notice? I still think, me personally, I'm still noticing kind of what you were saying before, that, you know, even though price is kind of going up and sideways, kind of chopping, we're still seeing a lot of people not really giving a fuck, and not really taking it seriously.
Right.
Right. So I think that's kind of a positive sign. No.
I do. I don't like seeing, surveys about when we're going to have new all-time highs.
Yeah.
That's not part of the ingredient you want. That doesn't mean it means anything, but if there's 7 of them and they're all, 78% of participants believe we're going to have all-time new highs in a week. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen. So, if I were trying to guess here, put that screen right back up to where it was a minute ago.
On the daily. My
Yeah.
bad.
Okay, go back to right before the red arrow. You see on the top side of that band. How long did we bounce off that before you broke through it? How many?
Right
That was
here.
about 3 weeks. Yeah, that's
It was about 3 weeks.
okay. So I would like to see about that much time go by trying to beat through it the other side. In other words, right here where we are today, it would be great if it took at least that long to get through it, because you'll put everybody to sleep who thought we were going to go straight to all-time new highs. People are too finicky. They're too, well, what have you done for me lately, being in the last 12 seconds.
Yeah.
We want to burn that off and let time burn it off for you. So if you spent the next 3 weeks bouncing between, I don't know, 93 and a half and 95 and a half, you'd put, half of the audience out of the business because they just get pissed.
Yeah.
And that's what you want. You want to burn that off. And that's why I suspect there will be a battle here. Makes
sense. Let's see. Best viewers on free game. What's up, Gambler? Shout out to Gambler. You remember Gambler, right, Max? Talked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to you, Gambler. I'll definitely be in contact again. We need to get on the what's it called, Twitter Spaces. But diabolical, hell yeah, Max. Let's kick people off the train.
There you go.
Yeah. Damn, it looks like those are from TikTok. Next week we will, like I said, go follow the Team 6 Crypto TikTok. We're going to be streaming from there as well next week. Trying to be on all platforms: Twitter, Abstract, TikTok. Again, I kind of view, I don't know if Max, you probably think the same way, but like I kind of view like X as like the biggest one I want to kind of stay on, not as far as crypto, but just in general. Crypto Twitter can obviously be a crazy place, but I think X is kind of going to be the everything app like 5 or 10 years from now, where all these different things, money and all these things are going to be on here. So I do like streaming on Twitter itself, kind of being kind of the home base platform. With that being said, Max and I have talked about a lot that I do think crypto Twitter is just a small little fucking microcosm of like the bigger picture. Especially with the amount of new people that are going to be here a year from now, 2 years from now. Most of them are not on fucking crypto Twitter. So can you talk about Myriad if you know anything? You know about Myriad, right? For Loco?
Myriad Markets? Are you referring to Myriad Markets, the platform for kind of like poly market for Poly Market for the, I guess it's like a, it's not like guessing, but what is it called? The, yeah, is that the one they're referring to, Myriad Markets, or is there a different one? Because I'm not sure.
Well, I think we have to see if Mark Abu can tell us. Mark, can you tell us if that's the one you're referring to? Oh, we lost Brent again.
um, yeah, the predictions one, right? Is that the predictions platform? Yeah, I don't think the TG has come out just yet, right? But I know it's backed by, Farag and those guys. At Rock Radio. So if that's the one, I mean, the prediction market platforms have done very well, particularly Poly Market. So there's definitely demand for that. But I don't really have many more thoughts. I signed up for the demo and I've been playing around with it off and on, but I don't know what to tell you. If you're asking me if I know what the uh, what the starting or the day one the day one market cap is going to be, I have no idea. But I do think it's an exciting product for sure, and they have the audience and the investors behind it. So
Yeah, and I've never used Myriad. I only thing I know about them is again about Farouk, and people are promoting it. But I do think prediction markets are gonna go up, and there's probably, like anything, Max can probably attest to this. Like, there's not just one. I mean, in some instances, there's only one fucking like dominant winner. There'll probably be Poly market, probably be dominant winner, but like there's gonna be other markets that catch volume.
yeah,
Expect
you're seeing like platforms like Drift, like actual perp and trading platforms, including prediction offerings or prediction market offerings within their trading platform because it just drives more volume and more activity on chain. So for sure.
100%. Yeah, I think the prediction markets are gonna grow. So, good question. Okay, thanks. I've been participating in some predictions. Just want to know if it was worth my time. The way I kind of view the whole stuff, it's just like gambling, man. A lot of prediction markets, it's very hard to have any type of like risk management or any type of controls when there's a binary answer. Like between two things, even if on Polymarket you can take profits and you can kind of manage your risk a little bit, but at the end of the day, bro, it's gambling, right? And I think you should treat it that way. I think if
Yeah,
you there is people who, real quick, I want to hear what you have to say for Loco, but I do think there's people who are kind of quants and who can like use fucking bots and do certain shit, but unless you're that guy who's has a fucking $100,000 or whatever bot to have strategies on Polymarket, I think the smart way is to treat Polymarket as gambling and just have a separate spot. And some people are very good at predicting shit, right? But what I've noticed on Polymarket when I fucked with it for a little bit is that all it takes is you can do well and even very high odds bets, but all it takes is one crazy fucking upset something to completely just fuck up your portfolio in a way if you're kind of betting a lot. But yeah, that's kind of how I treat it. It's just like another form of gambling, essentially. What were you gonna say for Loco? Sorry.
yeah, I guess from a perspective of farming, right? Like if you obviously, I believe Myriad is going to be more of a crypto friendly, like city friendly type of like TGE, where they're going to distribute more of their tokenomics to the community and users. Like for the last 2 months, we've seen a lot of people try to farm new projects, right? Because there wasn't really nothing going up or down. There was, on chain volume was so low that I believe a lot of people have been focusing on farming, right? And so if you've been farming Myriad, maybe it pays out. I don't know if it's going to be as good as Hyperliquid. That's what to me, Hyperliquid was the number one airdrop this cycle. I think many of the traders that put up some volume made millions. So I don't think it's going to be as big as Hyperliquid, but I definitely see that is going to be way more favorable and more crypto friendly or city friendly than Polymarket in a way that is less VC centric and more like venture capital centric and more like crypto city friendly. So maybe it pays out for you. But as Brent says, I wouldn't use the platform as a way to try to monetize or build your your crypto investments. But if you want to put some volume with some spare cash that you have, or spare stable coins that you have, maybe that added volume on chain pays out for you. But I wouldn't bet anything with the market as currently is. I haven't seen any good TGEs in a very long time. I think the most successful one was Hyperleague when it was last year. So yeah, tread carefully, but yeah, you can always have
I
fun.
was wondering, Max, you might know the answer to this. Like, say somebody like for example, there was like there's bets certain bets on Polymarket that like is this person gonna have a baby by this time?
Right.
Like, say that somebody knows that somebody's gonna have a baby at this time, and then someone they tell you, and then you make a trade off of it. Is that like insider trading as far as like
No,
Polymarket goes?
no.
No. Okay.
Insider trading is only in a public company.
Okay. Yeah. So it has to be a security.
Yeah, it has to be a traded public security that in some way you have disadvantaged other parties from knowing what you know, but
Okay.
only in an SEC regulated environment.
With that being said, do you think they're gonna move to like do the betting markets to kind of make it
Nah,
because like because you I mean, what if betting markets are already getting billions of dollars? Don't you think people are going to do certain things to
well, they will. They already.
manipulate, and they're going to you don't think they'll regulate it to?
I think the best thing to do for predictions is just give Furloco $20 and he'll predict things.
Yeah, yeah, I got you, I got you.
Well,
That's
the prediction market is, I mean, and the betting market is heavily regulated, and states have different regulations,
oh
right?
yeah. There's
California,
lots of stuff
yeah.
you can get in trouble for.
Yeah,
Like in California, for instance, you couldn't use DraftKings or any betting
Right,
platform,
right.
so they want to keep it that way. There's heavy regulation and high barriers of entry, right? Because platforms have invested a lot, and yeah. So I don't have anything else to say, but it's definitely a complex market, I would say.
yeah. What's it called? The poly market, I think, makes it really easy for because it's not allowed in the U.S., right? Or is it like?
Poly
Well,
market, yeah, it was geo
yeah.
blog, yeah. Hmm.
Um, yeah, because I mean, it just makes it easier when there's with crypto for people to evade that type of stuff versus like DraftKings or um, stuff like that. But yeah, super interesting. Um, NFTs, I think the last, let me see. But overall, I think meme coins, I think SPX, Gigamog, all of those that have survived these before are going to just, churn right back up, whether we come back down one more time or not. Um, I'm just continuing to buy these, and I think they're going to, do very well once these things are over, just like every other fucking time these corrections have happened. So, I think as that time goes on, there will be opportunity in the newer stuff if that's your thing. But overall, just I've found just not if you are into the newer shit, just not trading really at all or much until conditions improve, and then striking when the iron's hot instead of just getting fucking ripped apart right now. Like a lot of people have feeling the need that they have to trade. Um, so I think NFTs, I think we'll go over those really quickly. Not much has gone on macro wise for NFTs or any really big announcements. I think an NFT bull run is just bubbling. I think regulatory clarity is going to make it so that these founders can really build things around these digital IPs. I'm really bullish on VFriends, Pudgy Penguin, Suzuki, a lot of these other ones, and I think they're going to get a lot of the tailwinds from kind of this NFT bull run. I think a lot of people, just like in 2019 and 2018 in crypto, assumed that we would never get another strong bull run. Same kind of fucking thing. They were saying, oh yeah, of course we're not going to see another strong bull run on Bitcoin, and a lot of people are saying we never see 20K again because of this, because it was tulips, it was just a hype cycle. And what do you know? Right after 2020, not only did we see new all time highs, but very quickly you saw the richest man in the world, not only backing Bitcoin, the biggest coin, but shilling a fucking meme coin. Same thing's gonna happen here with NFTs. Maybe it's a fucking slower ramp up because, like Max says, none of these things play out the exact same way. But none of these cycles. But I think just like the crypto cycle, we will see another second NFT bull run. Backed kind of or propelled by regulatory clarity and by these great founders kind of building things around these NFTs. So yeah, I think VFriends is going to continue to do really fucking well. Pudgy Penguin, Suzuki, and then still really bullish on Memecoin NFTs at some point, with the convergence of meme coins and NFTs kind of really doing well together. I think Memecoin NFTs are a natural, just going to do really fucking well. So I have my Pond Fwog PFP. That's kind of a longer hold for me until it, I think these could do really well in that scenario. And then I think Aeons and then fucking stuff like the what's it called, Sprotos will do fine. But I don't think there was much news this week. I think actually Pudgy Penguins. I had one thing. They where was it? Maybe it was up here. Either way, they like partnered with this protocol on Sui or something, but I guess they didn't save it. But yeah, not too much going on in NFTs. I think right now just buying a lot of these projects with great operators and just holding until these things pick up eventually. But yeah, anything for Loco NFTs? Anything?
For Loka, had to leave.
Oh, he hopped off.
Yeah, he had to hop off to get to the airport.
Okay, perfect. XMW, the only AI play you need, 10 years token lock. Okay. What can kick off the NFT bull run? Great question. I think either something regulatory clarity wise, where like there's some kind of thing that makes it really highlights, like Max is talking about RWAs with some type of real estate thing that really, I could see something like that kicking off a huge surge in NFT stuff, or an integration of NFTs into like a big video game, or just something like that. Or it could just be a momentum spillover of a lot of these top projects reaching all-time highs. Either way, I think there's a lot of science both in, patterns from past cycles in crypto and a lot of other stuff. To answer your question, who knows what it's going to be, man? But I do think I think it's likely to happen. Of course, anything can happen, but I like what Crew Trade is doing with NFT utilization. Crew Trade, is that a project? But ultimately, I think NFTs are going to take the form of a lot of stuff. Like we've talked about real estate contracts, fractionalized real estate. But I think a big one is memberships. I think a lot of these different memberships people pay $25 a month for, whatever, are going to be NFT'd, because instead of just having access, whatever, through just a website, the NFT will give you access to everything. The content, you could what's it called, token gate content, and do a bunch of different stuff. So I think look out for a lot of great memberships and different groups coming out of there, both in crypto and other stuff. I think that's another big thing for NFTs. But let's see, what do you think about Bitcoin Grizzy? Are you talking about the coin Bitcoin, or is that an ordinal? Let's see, Grizzy. Sorry, bro. I'm probably stupid for not knowing this. But what are you talking about exactly? U.S. Ukraine officially signed minerals deal. That just happened. Okay, that just happened right now.
Unfortunately, you're going to find out Zelensky's a fraud.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, live now. Okay, I appreciate that, Jeremy. Use case. Oh, I like what Crew Trade is. Crew Trade have a Twitter page? Let's check that out real quick. But yeah, we're coming up on the top of the hour. We'll sign off here in a little bit. Want to look over a few more things, and then again, all of you guys who stayed on the stream here, really appreciate it. Again, we'll be back here on Friday at 10 a.m. PST. Any suggestions, anyway, anything you'd like to see on stream, DM me. Crew Trade. Yeah, let's see. Crew. Yeah. You'd have to send me the link or something, but thanks, y'all. Appreciate you, Rojam. Always appreciate the suggestions and you being on here. 1.4K viewers today. Again, I think it's evident that a lot more people are kind of creeping back slowly. But again, another few weeks of quietness would be for the best. Great streams as always, bro. Great, appreciate you, Diabological.
Thanks,
Uh,
guys.
yeah, we're going to continue doing these. Keep upping the everything, entertainment value, the quality of the streams, content, and I think as more people pour into crypto, people are going to be looking for guidance, and we hope again, number one, help people get a grip and ignore a lot of the fear that's going to fuck them up, and then two, um, just to stay fucking
Plus, you haven't told them about the surprise next week, which is Bren opens up a comedy channel too.
yeah. I'm
Stand up. Stand up.
exactly. I'm doing a open night or open
Right.
mic
Open night. That's right.
open mics 5 nights a week, and Mike here has really just encouraged me to get into the
Tip
comedy.
your waitresses. Tip the waitresses.
Yeah. No, 100%. Nah, you're the one with the jokes, man. But yeah, Jeremy, appreciate you for being on here, brother. Standcraft, everybody. I think we'll close off here. Max, any closing thoughts for
Uh,
the people?
I'm pretty sure I sound boring, but let the game come to us. It's just to remember what Warren Buffett said. I just bought a bunch of good stuff and then I waited. Keyword is waited. Have a great week. Have a great Wednesday, or not, actually just Thursday. We'll see you Friday and we'll have some more good ideas.
Hell yeah. For Locos already off. Danksy, everybody. With that, we'll see you guys on Friday, and have a great rest of your Wednesday. Peace.
See you guys.